This is Jemal with an opportunity here to do a side-by-side comparison of the Pierce aluminum heads. I've got a 5-port here that I've prepped for a race engine for the Sprite track car I'm building. And we've got a customer from Minimania who sent in one of these 7 ports. And you can see I've just got them sitting here side by side, same orientation. Obviously the 7-port is physically bigger because the intake manifold, if you will, is built onto the other side of it. I'll flip it over here in a second. But it's kind of interesting to see these. Of course, the 5-port, all the intake and exhaust are on the same side. The cross-flow 7-port puts just the exhausts out here with just some freeze plugs from the casting process installed into where the intake ports would normally be. And also a chance to take a look at issues people run into here. We'll compare valve sizes. This first one is the standard intake, 1.31. This is the oversized when you do a big stage 1 type head. This is a 1.4 inch intake. This one here is a 1.44 intake, so it's 40 thousandths bigger. And one of the things about these heads, they let you put bigger valves in than stock because the castings are different. The valves are cast further apart. All the exhausts are moved away from the intakes. That's why they work on large bore engines. One quick thing I want to mention here, people buy these 7-ports from all sorts of sources. This particular one started out in Gilroy, California, went to England, was purchased by a customer at a screaming deal price. But the reason they're a screaming deal is they use inferior components. These things can be put together with super cheap bits. These intake valves are probably from India. You know, you're talking less than 10 bucks, maybe 5 bucks. And the real problem we had here was with the springs. The very standard springs, you can do a visual inspection here if you want to see which springs you have. Will they work? These have about 7 coils if you line them up and look at them. These will bind up in one of these heads if you go to 1.5 rockers. Exactly what happened here. There's not enough spring travel. The good springs can be identified right here by having about 5 coils, noticeably less metal. These are all things to consider when you think you can buy one of these heads for 1,100 bucks or so. I'll tell you what, I mean, Minimania, we try our best to provide stuff at reasonable prices, but that's less than the parts we use cost. So, you know, take your chances out there if you must, but realize you're not going to get a high-performance head ready to bolt up to 1.5 roller rockers and have it work. You'll have destruction, which is what happened here. Remains to be seen if these valves will live. They've all got little dings on them from the springs binding up as the engine was attempted to be started, or maybe it did run, who knows. But destruction resulted. Anyway, we're going to try to do a valve job here, resurrect this head, make it usable. Let's see if we have enough memory left to just dip it over real quick. Have a quick look. Obviously, you see the ports. The valve spring pockets are deeper than they are in the 5-port. Oops, wrong side. And you can see these have all been set up for my race engine here. Sorry about the wobbly hand. I'm trying to do too many things with it. Anywho, there's a look at the bits. One more thing I wanted to show. They did some extensive work here on these 5-ports as far as the cooling goes. Look at all the machining on the underside here to direct water different places. So well thought out, but again, Mike Pierce himself says these are not to be considered race heads out of the box. They are replacements with potential to build them up for fantastic performance. But it's a mistake to just buy them and stick them on an engine without checking these critical clearances. Anyway, I hope that's useful information out there.